Welcome to another MP4Nation.net video review. Today I'm going to show you the new Ainol Novo 7 Tornadoes. I don't know why it's plural, but it's tornadoes on this. It's a 7-inch Android 4.0 tablet that runs on the new Cortex A9 ARM chip made by Amlogic. It's an 8726 chip. It has also a gig of DDR3 RAM, as well as 8 gigs of internal memory, and there's also a 16 gig version too. The one I'm going to show you now is the 8 gig version. Anyways, before I show you the tablet, let me show you the accessories. Comes with a Chinese language manual, which for many of you might not be very useful, except for the pictures. In general, Android is a operating system that is far more complicated than, well, far more depth than any manual could ever have. Just pop onto the internet and look up any guides for Android if you really are stuck on anything and how to set up an Android tablet. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. Anyway, here's some standard earphones, USB cable, and there is a Chinese warranty card. Now, if you get this through MP4 Nation, the warranty's through us. It's 1 year, no hassle. Just contact us if there's any problem. As long as you didn't drop it, or your car didn't run over it, we can pretty much get it fixed. So any defects in workmanship, but not if it's your fault. Here's a tablet. Out of looks-wise, I would say the back part looks really nice and sleek. It is plastic. The front part, well, I'll let you be the judge of that. I'm not a big fan of this large bezel or, this little silver engraving at the end. It is made out of metal, so that's a plus. But it could have been a bit better styled. But this is a budget-oriented tablet. Not saying that everything budget has to look fugly. I'm not saying this looks fugly. I'm just saying it could look better. Anyway, it has a 7-inch 800 by 480 resolution screen. It is a capacitive multi-touch touchscreen, which is pretty damn standard now. The processor clocks in at about one gigahertz. Sorry. At the back here, we have a built-in speaker, which is pretty loud. Your USB port, your micro SD slot, and an earphone socket. Oh, and a microphone, built-in microphone. The top here you have your on-off, your volume rocker, and your back button. And there is a 2 megapixel front-facing camera. There isn't too much on this tablet. There's no HDMI port. It does support USB OTG, so you can hook up like a 3G dongle or a 3G, a USB memory stick. So, screen quality, not that great, but it is, again, a budget tablet. You're not really buying this for a fantastic screen. They obviously have to cut back somewhere. You're not going to get this loaded with an IPS screen like the Ainol Aurora has. Obviously, I booted this up a little earlier. It takes about 45 seconds to load. That's on the standard Ainol ROM. I don't know if people start knocking out custom firmware for this, if that actually gets better. There's certainly room for making the firmware tighter. I've seen that in its performance. It's not that it's bad. It's pretty good out of the box. But just like any China tab, actually just any general tab, you get better firmware coming out of third-party communities like Slate Droid than you do from their own manufacturers, and that's just not Chinese guys. The Chinese manufacturers, it's even Western manufacturers, Western brands. It's the same story. Just the China tabs just tend to be a little worse. So anyway, let me show you one thing. When you get this tablet, it will be set in English, at least if you get it from us. However, the keyboard might not be set in English. Now, if you find out that the keyboard is not in English and it's in Chinese, all you need to do is hit Settings, go to Language and Input. Over here, you can also change the language if English isn't your language of choice. Just click Default on the keyboard and choose English, and it'll set the keyboard to English. Now, if your language isn't supported here, or the type of keyboard you like isn't supported, you just pop on over to Android Play, which is the former Google Marketplace, and you can download a language pack. If it's free or not, I don't know. Actually, you have to double check. So this does also support 1080p video playback. So let me show you some video playback on the movie player. And again, I apologize about all the glare that's coming off here. I'm trying to film this in a light box, and there's a little bit extra, a little bit more glare than I was hoping for. Okay, let me. These are some pre-made movies by Ainol. Pretty much, this is a good video, a good tablet that plays high-resolution videos pretty well. The speaker's also quite loud. Let me turn that down. Again, you know, the screen angles aren't that great, but for general video viewing, this is pretty good. And there you have an idea of video playback. Let's go back. Let me show you the gallery. Oh, we don't have any image. I thought I had loaded up some images on this. Anyways, I mean, if you don't know what an image viewer on Android looks like, just look on YouTube. You'll probably find a ton of videos. This does support multi-touch. That's what I actually wanted to show you, but instead I'll show it to you on Angry Birds. I haven't really put this tablet through the paces for its ability for playing games, but Angry Birds does play very well. Supposedly the processor is quite powerful, so you can expect it to probably support most games that are available for Android. It may struggle on the very 3D intensive games, but you'll need to check for what people are saying on the forums or anywhere else about how these perform. Alright, let's skip this. Oh. And you got the multi-touch going. The touchscreen, I would say, as far as its responsiveness goes, is probably about a 7 out of a 10. It's certainly not the most responsive screen, but it's not a bad touch panel either. Anyways. Again, this is, you know, at least for the 8 GB, it retails for under $100. So you're not going to get the creme de la creme of hardware being put into this, but it's certainly, I mean, coming from say just a year ago to have a 7-inch Android tablet with this much power in the processor, with this much RAM and a capacitive touchscreen was unheard of for under $100. I mean, that was no one. I mean, people were probably expecting this, but I mean, where we've come in a year is, as far as what your money can get you, it's pretty remarkable. And you know, this is a guy coming from who used to sell media players. So let's load up good old MP4 Nation. Oops. Yeah, I am trying to type while I'm looking through the camera, so it's a little difficult. There we go. Just to note, I am running off my phone's Wi-Fi hotspot, so the internet connection I have for this tablet isn't that great. As I mentioned before, as tablets go, all the processors in these tablets, you know, be the Cortex A8, A9, or whatever new generation comes out, they all can load up web pages about the same speed. You're not going to see much difference, unless it's maybe, say, a very heavy flash-loaded page. But if it's a standard web page, they're all loaded about the same. What affects performance is your internet connection more than anything else. Scrolling is actually rather smooth. I'd have to say scrolling on this is actually smoother than I felt on A10 based tablets, and those are the more popular based tablets right now. Okay. 'Cause, 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 And of course it has G sensor built in, so. And if you didn't figure it out, this is using Android 4.0, which is a real step forward for Android and its interface for tablets. It's really, really wonderful. It's really well done. I like it. Anyways, that's the web browser. Leave the rest to your imagination for how the web browsing will work out. It does come loaded with a few other Google apps. As you can see, it also has, as I mentioned earlier, Play Store, which is the Google Marketplace now, or Android Marketplace. It also comes with a lot of apps that are in Chinese. You can remove these as if you don't know how to read Chinese, it won't be much of use. It also has the new Gmail, which is the Gmail that's styled at the same type that's on the iPad. It's very well laid out. I don't have my Google account associated with this tablet, so I can't really show you that. Other notes on this, battery life is supposed to be good. It's supposed to give you about 6 hours on Wi-Fi. I haven't really tested it. I'm sure we'll get a lot more feedback on that as more people start getting this tablet and start using it. Overall, apart from a few things, say the large bezel, and that's just my personal feeling on it, the viewing angles, and maybe the touchscreen could have been a bit more responsive. Again, not saying it's not responsive, I'm just saying it's not like the touchscreen on the Aurora. But even with its, I would say 7 out of 10 touchscreen, it's still very smooth, and the whole thing is very responsive, very fluid. So this new Amlogic processor, I would say it's quite capable. It's a quite capable processor. Now, what I really think will take this tablet to the next level is if people start making custom ROMs, because I feel that there's probably a lot of potential in this processor, especially because of its low price, that people can knock out something that really, really optimizes the performance of this tablet. Anyways, again, this is a budget tablet. It retails under $100 US, shipped worldwide, and that's with 8 gigs of memory. There is a 16 gig version that will retail for a little bit more. You can head on over to mp4nation.net to check this out, or head on over to our forums to discuss this. Thank you.